Similar to most movie sequels, The Exorcist 2 was greenlighted not long after the massive success of the original movie. Linda Blair agreed to return after reading the original script, which was massively superior to the final film and apparently almost as good as the original movie. Max von Sydow and Kitty Wynn also agreed to return for the film. After tons of rewrites and a director who didn't even like the original movie and even turned down the directing offer he was given for it, we finally got Exorcist 2: The Heretic. I've now seen it twice, and although it wasn't as bad as the second time around as it was the first time, that doesn't change the fact that it's an absolutely awful film. It's considered to be one of the worst movies of all time, and there are very good reasons for that. The film makes no sense, is extremely muddled, terribly edited, and goes back and shits on moments in the first film. The plot is quite hard to follow and definitely hard to explain, but I'll try my best and I apologise if I get anything wrong. 4 years after the events of the first film, now 16-year-old Reagan is staying in New York with her guardian Sharon. She is being monitored by Dr. Jean Tuscan, who's played by Louise Fletcher from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Jean believes that Reagan remembers what happened and is struggling on the inside even though she seems normal on the outside. Linda Blair once again gives a fantastic performance, and she is very much just an older version of the little girl she was in the first movie. She's hyperactive, kind, caring, and despite the horrible things that happened to her in the first movie, she's just living life like nothing ever happened to her. I really liked this aspect of the film. They could have really showed that Reagan is struggling to comprehend what happened to her and struggling to keep her emotions together. They could have made the entire film about her not fighting Pazuzu, but fighting her own personal demons, the knowledge of what she did, the fact that Pazuzu could come back and haunt her. The entire film could have been about Reagan slowly going insane after the events of the first movie. They could have made a straight drama. If they did this, the film would have probably actually been really good. Instead, the film doesn't focus that much on Reagan. The film focuses on Pazuzu and Father Merrin. This aspect of the film is essentially told through Father Lamont, another Catholic priest. The film starts off with Father Lamont trying to perform an exorcism but failing, resulting in the girl's death. He then goes back to America to try and find out the details of Father Merrin's death. He does this by using a device called a synchronizer. This device allows you to look into your minds and find memories that you have forgotten or repressed. Other people can sync up to your mind as well and see what you see. Similar to Inception, except nowhere near as good. Through this, we see how Father Merrin really died. Apparently, Pazuzu, while inside of Reagan's body, gave Father Merrin a heart attack that killed him. This literally shits on the original movie. Throughout the original movie, it's set up that Father Merrin has heart problems and is taking medication to calm down. It is hinted, although never revealed, that this condition was inflicted from seeing Pazuzu in real life and realizing that the demon will possess again. When he finally dies at the end of the movie, it's because it was all too much for him. The horrors of what he's seen kill him, not Reagan squeezing his heart until he dies. After this, Father Lamont is taken through flashbacks by Pazuzu. Don't ask me why or even how, as we see Father Merrin's previous encounter with Pazuzu. These flashbacks are the most confusing part of the movie. Pazuzu is basically a bug throughout, and we get many POV shots of him flying around different landscapes. The most random and confusing part is when this scene happens. What the fuck was that? James Earl Jones, of course, plays that man who was possessed by Pazuzu as a little boy and was exorcised by Father Merrin. He isn't in the film for very long, and his entire scene makes no sense at all. At the end of the film, we go to the house from the first movie as Reagan and Father Lamont find out that the only way to beat Pazuzu is to go there and fight him. Again, don't ask me how. Reagan remembers everything that happens and yet she doesn't seem afflicted by it at all. The ending is without a doubt one of the worst and most confusing endings in any movie ever made. Somehow, Pazuzu creates a doppelganger of Reagan who is evil. Father Lamont kills it by pulling his heart out of his chest. Reagan then banishes Pazuzu and a bunch of locusts by swinging her arm around in the air. What? This is stupid! I don't think I've seen an ending to a movie this stupid since Freddy Krueger was killed by the power of love in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. The Exorcist 2 is absolutely ridiculous. Nothing makes sense, a lot of the film is laughably bad. Apart from Linda Blair, everyone either overacts or barely acts at all. The script is terribly written, the editing is horrendous, and the film as a whole is an absolute preposterous pile of shit. The effects, admittedly at times, are really good. One of the stupidest things in the film, in my opinion, is how Linda Blair had a double do all the scenes where you see Reagan in full makeup. There are two stupid things about this. One, the double obviously looks nothing like her, and two, the makeup looks like shit. When Pazuzu is talking inside of Reagan, it sounds nothing like it did in the first film. They couldn't get the original voice actress or even someone who'd sound similar? This film is absolutely horrible. Believe everyone who tells you it's terrible because in my opinion, it's one of the worst movies ever made. I give Exorcist 2 The Heretic a G-.